So after several days of talking about it, I'm actually going to start cutting on this inner structure. As soon as I get the rest of this out of the way, we'll get in here, and I'm going to put a common line down where this is overlapped. Probably hard to see from that camera angle, but there's the overlap from the donor vehicle in this area right here all the way down, and I'm going to draw a new line and cut that so I have a common splice. Then I'll come back and weld the patch onto that common splice. But first I have to get in here and remove the package tray and the trunk pan and everything that's here temporarily. All the while kind of doing this, so I'm trying to put some light on it, which means shining into my eyes, so we'll see how that works. All good though. We will have if you think you have enough vice grips, you're wrong. I've always had, 5, 6, 7 pair, whatever, typical vice grips, and several body panel vice grips, but I find myself wanting many more right now. That's actually not doing anything there, it's just kind of in the way. We'll, depending on what I'm doing, I'm using these stands here and there, but they're not here to actually support the car because they're coming in and out, moving around. I have this temporary panel fitting in here. Got them holding up certain things. Let's see how my first videos are so terrible. I'm only a couple in, but the noise of moving around and carrying a camera for one is so dramatic and surprising. Now I know why when I get annoyed at videos, now people can get annoyed at mine. Also understand why there's a lot of voiceover work, because the racket going on, moving around and banging on metal is a lot at times. One more. Excuse me. All right, here we go. Zip some screws. That's no good. Buy all this fancy stuff, you have to figure out how to put it on so you don't lose it. We'll see. Luckily, this isn't a business. I'm not trying to make money on this or do anything serious YouTubers do. Just thought it would be fun to share, because as I've searched and searched on good examples of who's done this, like I said in the last video, Rust Bucket Restos, he's been terrific to watch, just at the level of what he's doing with, relatively speaking, typical garage. You know, obviously he's got some nice tools and a lift, etc., but nothing too crazy. And most of us who, you know, no matter how long we've been playing with cars, most of us look at tasks like this and say, you know, look, I've swapped motors and rebuild the motor or whatever. When you get into this level of body work, it's just a different deal. So regardless of other confidences, this takes a bit. You know what? I don't want to take that screw out though. Leave that one for now. We gotta cut that yet. So I thought it would be fun to do some videos just to show that well, I'm a Joe Blow doing this in a typical garage. Got a few tools, yeah, but so finding Rust Bucket Restos, finding Chris Birdsong, just guys that are, you know, Birdsong's obviously got a lot of experience, but even so, he's doing it in a fairly low-key fashion, which is great. Ends up being a terrific tutorial for the rest of us. Now I'm going to try to get this out of here, and if you ever put a package tray in with the rest of the world existing around it, it's kind of jammed in there, so this might take a second. Find one of those in the aftermarket. I could be wrong, but I don't think they make them. I found one that was good, so I didn't search that long, but what I did search. I couldn't find it right away. All right, now we'll take this trunk pan out without dropping it, hopefully. Lots of working room. What do you say? Lots of room for activities. All right, now we mean business. Armed with a Sharpie and a tape measure, I'm going to try to find my happy place. As I took good example of what I've been talking about in the other video. So this is what was cut out. I've trimmed it a little bit, but when they put the big wheel tubs in, I keep calling them Juicy Whitney, but you know, jigs, whatever. The ones you buy when you want to buy a drag race tub. It's just the big piece of sheet metal with the half circle backer, and basically cut everything out in that shape, and you can see where they just had it foamed on with self-tappers under the Bondo and rivets. Over along in this area, there's all the factory sound deadener back there, still there on the original quarter. Original quarter comes to here, and they had just hacked that out. I'm guessing it wasn't even rusty at the wheel well, but you know, who knows? And then they put a skin on the outside of it, so there's part of a quarter skin that's still just hanging below right here. if you can see that from over there. But at any rate, this back side here would have all been part of this panel right here. And I don't really want to cut all this out, even though there's more of this left, like that. I don't really want to cut all of that out of there because it's still good structure with the roof and where the quarter's currently tied in. Obviously we'll, unless I have somebody talk me into truly splicing the quarter on and leaving the quarter seam, you know, if I come down, because it's perfect, you know, to a point about the body line, because where they welded the quarter skin on, it's right at that body line that darts have running right through this area. And you can see that same spot that all that sound deadener's burnt off because they welded right along there. So makes sense, right? At any rate, I've got to find that happy place to make this seam happen. Well, all that's going to start, first step is right here. So getting this chunk in there. You know what, just for giggles, I'll pull that off real quick, just to show what we have going there. So right there turns into right there. So I don't know if I'm gonna do it the back way, but generally speaking, not a whole lot missing, but definitely some missing. There we go. That is, that's it. Actually, off maybe 1/16 of an inch, maybe not. I don't. We'll see if I can't do a little adjusting. So we'll get that up in there first and then weld on this outer piece, and then they were born together like that. So they'll come back together like that in there. But the big big task was, it's been a couple years in the making of finding time to get back to this car, but this is the big deal. Getting that 3-inch piece of metal in there, and we'll just start tacking this stuff together and we will make it sound. And then the frame rails can go in. I will cut these frame stubs that are here off. I don't know that the camera's pointing down far enough, but I've showed them before. And get the inner rockers cut out of here. Once this is all tied together up here, get the package tray in here, then I'm comfortable with all the supports that I have all around here. I have a total of 10 screw jacks, little camper jacks, 2 under the K-member and 4 along each side under the rockers. And I've got 2 old house jacks doing the same thing, just screw jacks over under the back end there, and everything's perfectly leveled with that laser. So little chance of it moving around. And this structure here is a little obnoxious, but again, little spot welds here, it's all triangulated there, coming back. And again, this I can lift off of, that's not sitting on that jack with any pressure. So I could take those out. They're not really doing anything, but I thought just in case, I want them touching that back end. So if I cut these inner rockers out, even if they moved a 1/16 of an inch up here, it might turn into 3/8 of an inch, at the other end. So everything helps, but don't expect it to move. So with all the supports that we have, but anyway, we'll tie this together and go from there. Should be good. Thanks for watching this one. I'll keep adding to these. Just when I get time, this is a hobby, so hopefully I can show the end product as I come along here, and hopefully somebody else sees this that was looking like I did and says, well, there's just another Joe Blow in the shop playing around on the weekends that got it accomplished. So we'll do our darndest to show that and keep going. Thanks. All right, back on this back section here. So I just cut the inner structure here on the rear quarter window. We call it the regulator structure maybe. At any rate, got a good cut here. You can see the seam right in there. So just this little section here and all the way down to here, right through the center of the oval here. If you're familiar with these, everything's lining up real well. I have to go back through and cut out, so this inner rocker is leaving. That's where, again, where that new frame section is coming in. So I'm going to take off this entire inner rocker. It stops about right in here. There's a bunch of weld on top, beyond all the spot welds that are here, but where they tie them all together. So I have to, there's a little bit of the last piece behind there. So I'm going to now move over to the other side and cut that. I thought I'd just give a little bit more of a close-up of that side. So I'll get that one going. Well, in general, there we go. Pretty good fit. Again, like the other side, I've got to get the old piece out from underneath there. We'll replace this inner rocker. All that shows well. So again, as I move forward, I'm going to remark everything, but as the the right term for it. We've got the torque box in here, and then we've got these outriggers from the actual frame to go to the inner rocker, and that's where all the structure happens. So what I want to do is, I don't know how exacting is I have the full length of the half of the inner rocker that comes off the other car. It stops right in here, but I don't know how exacting all of that is. So what I want to do is, along with the back cross member, locating everything. So I left the tails that are off of the underneath the trunk extensions. But I want to locate this cross member here up on the inner structure. So I've got a mark with an awl here, and a mark with an awl here, and I've done the same over here. I've done that on both sides. I'll remark those now that I'm messing with everything and make sure I'm good to go. So I have a reference point of where everything is. Measuring is one thing, but I basically, these, because all these cars are a little bit different, what we want to do is make sure mainly that the frame rails are square to the front frame rails. So everything up there. And then beyond that, the rest of the car, because the structure is still there, the apron of everything that's going to pin to the back side, but because everything will wiggle a little bit, I want another set of reference points. Then I'll just diagonal and square everything and should be good to go. So there's the second piece. Next step will be welding those in after I get them blasted and cleaned up, and come back there and clean up everything for welding. Then we'll come back through, and I previously said I didn't think I could finish this roof structure where it meets the outer wheel tub right here. I have a template down here. Again, I showed before that it sits up in here and makes sure that I have north, south, east, west all right. Right now it's overlaid, but I believe there's enough in there that I can weld it from this side. I'll just have to do some finish cutting there. It's dark, I believe, but there might be the ability to shed a little light on that deal. There we go. So you see the precision cutting that they did before, but I'll come back through there with that cutoff wheel and screw that up. I'll tack screw it up above there. There's enough overlap to get a screw in on each side or two. Then I'll cut it again just like I did this piece here. We'll have a great mending seam, and I'll be able to weld that for the most part here from this side. There, boy, it's coming together. It's really starting to see the end of the puzzle here. So get those together, get the inner structure welded up here. We'll get the package tray back in, get that welded up, and then this structure will be good right here. And we'll get back in here. We'll look at these inner, this is only sitting on the inner rocker. This particular one is very rusty along the bottom. I keep talking about how good this car is, but 60s cars in general, but 60s Mopars, no doubt, always rusty in these areas. So we'll get that out of there, get that good rocker in there, and then we'll cut this floor, like I mentioned on the other side. We'll cut it back through here far enough out so we can work, and cut it back up next to the seat belt hole here, maybe even further, and then anyway, get good access, get that new inner rocker in on the back side, and then decide how much we're going to go forward. There's a little bit of, I think everything else could be handled literally with the pan in, with a little patch on that rocker, what you can't see on the underneath of it, but in general this pan's in good shape. I've went this far, so what's the big deal? But anyway, we'll make a decision on that. in general, making progress. The next day for me after cutting this stuff yesterday, getting back to doing a little welding. Got my replacement patches in the glass cabinet. Got them all cleaned up. I've getting all this ready to get tacked up here. Terrible. Still trying to figure out this settings on my welder. I haven't had it very long. I bought an Everlast 251 after using a I don't know, 35-year-old or so, maybe older, a Hobart old Betamaig transformer style, which is actually a pretty good old welder, but the thought for this little stuff it'd be fun to have something that had a little more finesse. It's actually a multi-purpose. That's a little better. So it's got TIG and MIG and actually stick as well, of course. Well, what do they say about grinder and paint? Makes me the welder I wish I was, but not bad. Learning this little machine, and it's got a pulse setting that I need to get educated on that may help my endeavors with thin sheet metal. But after I hit that with the flap disc, that'll look good in there, and find out if I got a couple little holes here and there. I got a little mending to do there real quick. I'll get that done. And, keep going. So I lost my screwdriver over here. Try that out. All right. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Over yonder. We'll get that one all fit up. Got a little adjusting to do there. It's a little short there. But we'll get that done. And I'll come back and get her ground down. All right, just like that. Welded in. Still have a few spots to go and finish up a few pinholes here and there. Anyway, that side's done. Got her ground down pretty well. Looks presentable for stuff that's going to be behind a panel. And then on this side as well, a few more bigger pinholes there. Take care of, but all in all, came out real well. Down here I've got the inner rocker cut down where that goes, so the new rocker will go over that, of course. Get all that finished up a little bit better, and then moving on to the C-pillar structure. So hopefully get that together with the package tray here shortly. I've got to go and along the window channel there and punch all that out so I can weld it from the top and get all these drops here cut on both sides. I was just getting ready to run to town, and I'm going to take my sometimes summer driver, which is a 1971 Jeepster Commando. It's clacking a little bit. It hasn't been started probably twice all winter, so just checking oil. It's all good. That old Dauntless V6 is original and somewhat tired, but it runs good, just doesn't have a whole lot of oil pressure, so we'll get that oil changed here soon. I dragged this out of a field. Actually bought it from a guy's field, I guess, but they drug it out of Missouri. Not terrible, not great. A little rust here and there, or a little bit of rust repair needed. Just something fun to play around with. We got some other Jeeps. Well, I guess we're down to one other Jeep, CJ7 right now. Well, and my son's got a newer Jeep. We got him this past year. But this old bugger is bare bones, and I like it that way. Put some aftermarket low back seats in it, similar to what would have been there originally. Not even a radio, just basic. all I've done to it is, well, all new brakes, new clutch, changed the clutch to a hydraulic throw with a little hydraulic cylinder down there, and all the typical alternator, water pump. It's got a Pertronix electronic ignition on that odd fire. Threw one of my winches on there, ADT-74. Put the, actually took the 4 solenoids out of there last year and put a big contactor in there, and it's kind of nice. Solenoids are great when they work, but when they don't, they're sticky and a pain. So anyway, other than that, pretty basic. I'm gonna load up and go for a cruise real quick. I think everybody should keep a old vehicle around just for fun. I think they're more fun to drive than a newer vehicle. There's the daily driver. Throttle sticking. Fantastic. Love that little 6-cylinder. A little loud in here, but that's all right. Beautiful March day. Catch back up when we're back to the shop. Now we're getting ready to cut the C-pillar brace, I'll call it. I need to look that up and find the actual name. Get this brace, the final cut to mend it in, get it prepped for welding. Whew. All right, well, luckily that one's done. I about had an oops there. You can see that little extra cut line. but we got her figured out. So that will end up right in there. Just about perfect.